Do you want to read?
Yeah, usually find the text. Yeah. 7 times. Here the translation. Those who are not demoniac, those do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanness nor properness, proper behavior nor truth is found in them.
In every civilized human society, there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations which is followed from the beginning, especially among the Aryans, those who adopt the Vedic civilization and who are known as the most advanced civilized people. Those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions are supposed to be demons. Therefore, it is stated here that the demons do not know the scriptural rules, nor do they follow any inclination to follow them. Most of them do not know them, and even if some of them know, they have not the tendency to follow them. They have no faith, nor they are willing to act in terms of Vedic injunctions. The demons are not clean, either externally or internally. One should always be careful to keep his body clean by bathing, brushing teeth, shaving, cleaning, changing clothes, etc. As far as internal cleanliness is concerned, one should always remember the holy names of the Lord and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. The demons neither like nor follow all these rules for external and internal cleanliness. Here Prabhupada is stating that the demons' quality, that they do not incline to follow any Vedic scriptural rules, and they are neither clean externally nor internally.
So what is the confusion the demons have? Hmm? They don't know the Vedic scriptures. The first point is they don't know the Vedic scriptures, correct. And as a result?
Even if they know, they don't want to follow.
Very good. Very good point. So, Mati can ask for help in us carrying the point. So they don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Even if they know scripture, that's an interesting point, isn't it? So one category is where they don't know the scriptures. Then they are acting whimsically. If someone doesn't know scripture, that means they are acting whimsically, out of ignorance. But here, the second category you mentioned is very interesting. There's a call from a Guru Maharaj, I have to quickly take it. Hello? That's true. Okay, roughly which time zone? Okay, good. That's perfect. Yeah, that itself is good. No problem. Okay. Yeah. Correct. I appreciate it. No problem. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the two categories we find the demoniac behavior, right? I'm Mike Apradi. The two categories of demoniac behavior we found here is that one who doesn't know the scriptures, correct? And the second who knows the scriptures but still acts improperly. So Can you think of examples? See, always examples are good because they help us to identify with them, isn't it? And we be careful we don't do the same thing. Isn't it? So can you think of examples? First category is very obvious. Those who don't know scriptures. What examples can you think of? Never make statement like that. yeah. It actually the let's say the atheistic kind of people. No, let's say they could be anywhere. They could be in India. Could be East, West. Yeah. No. That's okay. I know what you mean, but my put TV. No. People have people in ignorance, people who are atheistic who reject scriptures, right? They say, nah, scripture is all bogus. So that kind of people, wherever they may be, regardless of geographical inclination, they do not either accept the scriptures or they don't know the scriptures. Correct. That's one category. That's one good example. Yes.
People, they indulge in eating and intoxication.
Yes.
Saying meat eating is actually healthy.
Yeah. So they are, in other words, they don't follow the rules and regulations because they come up with counter arguments, their own arguments. Okay, they counter now. Not only they don't know, they may know the scripture, but they are denying it or opposing it. Yes, very good. Okay. Mataji, you had a hand up.
Just from what we've studied so far, Ravan was one and Hiranyakashipu another who were masters.
That's the second category. Yeah. First category was where they don't know scriptures or they're denying the scriptures. Second category is
who knew the scriptures but they deliberately did not follow them.
Or they followed parts of it that suited them.
That suited them.
Yeah, because there is Puranas in the mode for people in the mode of ignorance, Tamagun, Rajogun and Sattoguna. They follow whatever they... So demons also have their own dharma. It's not that they don't have. They have law and order. Duryodhana was described as a very good king from materialistic point of view, right? Bhaktivinoda Maharaj says, as a king is very good. But just that he was inimical to Krishna, that is a problem, a small problem. But otherwise they followed dharma. He was a good administrator, good manager. He knew how to get things done. He knew how to maintain law and order, their laws. Ravan also is very good. That's the one time Prabhupada commented, even if you can't get Ram Rajya, if we can at least get Ravan Rajya, it's better than what we are doing now. Even Ravan Rajya is better than this. So there are examples of personality like Ravan, who was a Brahman, for example. He's a Brahmana. So they knew Vedic knowledge, but still they were demoniac because they were inimical to Krishna. Any other examples? Where's the mic? Yeah, I think.
Prabhu, I was just in our, in today's times, how many of the temple priests they know the scriptures very, very well.
Correct.
But do they actually follow them?
Very good. Yeah.
So it's more for satisfying their senses again, and
Correct.
for just for their sustenance that they do it rather than actually following it.
Correct. Right. They don't. They're okay. That's another interesting category, where they're apparently following the law, but in spirit they're not. Isn't it? Have you seen like that? They seem to be showing good behavior, but actually they are not following it properly. That's called niyamagraha. Niyamagraha, niyamagraha. Right? Yes, Mataji, and then you. Okay.
Might be wrong. This is the category is where, when we see Santa Tukaram, during that period also there were Brahmins and all, even Jnaneshwar.
Yeah.
So there were Brahmins actually who were qualified actually in
Yes.
front of him,
Yes.
but still they were not having that belief of that there's a
They
Krishna.
didn't have faith in
So they
scripture.
had that knowledge,
Correct.
Jnana Yoga, but
Correct.
which were not actually was going towards Bhakti Yoga. So
Right.
that is the category. This is the same category what you...
Yes,
like you
this is
can-
another flavor
you can
of
put
that.
into
Vanilla
that
flavor, strawberry
category.
flavor, raspberry flavor. Different flavors.
So that means they were like, because they had that knowledge, but they were not ready to give to people. They were not
Yes.
ready to preach. Which Tukaram, which did opposite, and Jnaneshwar did opposite.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
so
It's very interesting point
that's-
you make. Even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, the biggest opponents of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were not the Muslims. They were the Brahmanas. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The Mayavadis. That's the biggest opponent. That's not, sorry, he had his hand up. Is that okay? Yeah, Makan?
Oh, I was just going to say Jarasandha. He was a worshipper of
That's my
Vishnu.
favorite
but he-
example. That's my favorite example. It's because when I first heard from a Guru Maharaj, this, I was like shocked. Jarasandha worshipped Vishnu. Yes, he worshipped Shaligram. Yet he was a demon. Good example.
I think you already covered the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example where Brahmanas actually went to Chandkazi and complained
Yeah,
that
they
people are.
Correct.
Yeah.
Surprising. Even he was quite happy to let him chant. In fact, first time he got a complaint. And they said that the devotees are trying to keep a low profile on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because they're afraid of Chandkazi. So, but still some complaints are coming. And then some people went and said, oh, he's a very powerful man, he's influencing a lot of people, he's creating a big following, he could be dangerous for us. I think he's some kind of dangerous character. Then Chandkazi said, actually someone can do all this, he can't be an ordinary person. I think he's non-different from Allah. He was quite happy with that. But the Brahmanas went and complained, no, he's defiling our religion. Our dharma is being destroyed by this person. Because that time the Muslims when they're ruling, of course, while they're very oppressive, they also like to show they're very broad-minded and good people also. Everyone wants to show they're good people. Even demons like to show they're good people. Not that all Muslims are demons, don't get me wrong. But when they're oppressive, still they like to show they're good people. The British, they ruled over us. They like to say they're very broad-minded, very just, very fair. In their own mind, they're trying to educate the uncultured barbarian Indians. They're thinking they're doing good. They never thought we're doing bad. They always thought even those terrorist attacks, they think they're doing good to the society by killing unwanted people and bringing up the real good people. Everyone has their own justification. So that's a very good point. So Chandkazi initially was not against, but because the Brahmanas went and complained, he was forced to take action as a king. When people of your own side are complaining about you, then naturally there is something wrong, isn't it? If other people complain, I can understand. It is due to differences of religion or culture. But your own people are complaining, then there's something seriously wrong. So that's why it is seen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a very, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a very simple definition. What definition he gives? Of who is a demon, who is a devotee?
Whoever is not following Krishna is a demon.
Yes. Krishna nahi mane, daitya kari jane. Very simple definition. If you go and tell this outside, people think, oh, you're a fanatic. Don't accept Krishna, you're a demon. No, but his definition is very simple. Krishna nahi mane, daitya kari jane. Bengali, Bangla bolun. You'll understand Bengali. It is simple Bengali anyway. So demoniac is very different. But here Krishna gives more elaborately. The first thing he says is, don't have knowledge of scriptures and they are not clear what is to be done, what not to be done. So in this verse, what other characteristics are brought out?
So there's also this category of, sorry.
Your voice is quite loud, but still.
Sorry. There's also this category of people who, under the guise of scriptures, they take shelter of the scriptures and they do the wrong thing because the interpretation of the scriptures
Yes.
is based on what
Very good.
they've understood because they're not following they've not
Yeah.
come from the right parampara or they've done it themselves.
Correct. Very good point. So that means those who espouse the Mayavad philosophy or apasampradaya, not a proper sampradaya, they don't have the proper conclusions of scriptures, they are also in this category. Yeah.
We've got in our workplace, like we've got he says that he's a minister in the church, but he says no intoxication. Yeah, as per scriptures, it says that intoxication is prohibited.
That's how they interpret it.
That's what they've interpreted. But then when it comes to meat eating, when you point that out, he says no. Maybe someone else has interpreted it the wrong way, but this is what the scriptures say.
Yeah, therefore when they believe in that, they think that's the truth.
So
I agree.
so he encourages meat eating.
Yeah, that's right. So then there is also the sub-dharmas, sub-religions. That's why they have rules like don't eat on Friday or something like that. You can eat meat but don't eat on Monday, don't eat on Friday. Idea is you should not eat at all. But sub-dharmas, lower religions, they allow people to do on some restricted condition, knowing that they're going to do it anyway. Now to stop prostitution, they said, okay, you can have polygamy. Now the polygamy is the ideal state situation, but at least it stops prostitution. Isn't it? Some restriction. Smoking is not good, but if you have to, then smoke outdoors. Idea is better not to smoke, isn't it? It's quite obvious. But we can't say government is promoting outdoor smoking. That's not the conclusion, isn't it? We can't say like that. If you say like that, that's improper understanding. So similarly, scriptures also one can interpret in different ways and bring out different meanings, unintended meanings. That is why we have a threefold system of check and balance. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. Because one can interpret in a different way, but then what is the consistency there? What is the consistency? All three have to be agreeing. Then there's consistency. Okay, so what other characteristics? Demoniac. This whole section is of some chapter. Text 7 to 20 is demoniac.
Cleanliness and proper behavior and truth.
Yeah. Cleanliness is not there. Cleanliness is not there. So that Prabhupada discusses. What does it say about cleanliness? Internal and external. Very good. What is the external cleanliness? We all know what that is. But what is internal cleanliness? Yes, mind, consciousness. Yeah. And? BMW. Yeah, BMW. That's another. Body, mind, and words. Yeah, that's another Bhakti Rasa Maharaj speciality. Yeah, that's right. BMW. Yeah, the internal and external cleanliness. Yeah. You like that?
Yeah, there's an English proverb, cleanliness is next to...
Ah, yes, thank you, Jayashree. Very good. Prabhupada corrected that proverb. He said cleanliness is godliness. He went to that extent. He went to the extent. Keep it in your lap. Now you got a phone. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's smart. Smartphone too. So cleanliness is godliness. That is true. So that, and because we can't, cleanliness is a mode of goodness. Unless we acquire the mode of goodness, we cannot acquire godliness. It's very essential. That's why the Atmaram Prabhu said in that second initiation, when devotee is getting second initiation, a couple of days back, he said, "What is the Brahmana definition? Brushing teeth and clean fingernails." And then Prabhupada also added, not smelly armpits. Sounds quite disgusting actually, but Prabhupada is so black and white. Should take bath, in other words. So, because what happens is, Niyamagra means we follow only in namesake. We follow only in namesake. We don't actually understand the principle behind everything. So these things are missing, and we call ourselves Brahmin because I am born Brahmin family. Prabhupada says that some of them might be coolie, lifting heavy luggage and loads. He can't be called a Brahmin. That's not the profession of a Brahmana, lifting weights, luggage. And he has a Brahmin thread, and he's called a Brahmin coolie. Even among the coolies, they have hierarchy. Brahmin coolie, Kshatriya coolie, Vaishya, Shudra coolie. So it's not, you're doing work of a Shudra, nothing wrong in that. That is one kind of occupation. Let's accept it, that we are doing Shudra occupation. And most of us regret to say we are in the Shudra occupation, isn't it? Working for somebody, skilled labor, IT is also included. So, yeah.
Yeah. Question here, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
In those, in the previous yugas, the saints were sitting and meditating in the penance. Probably my understanding is they would not have time to take bath and make their cleanliness. They continuously went on penance without that. And there are other category of people even in the current era, as Sudras, mainly Sudras class. Because of their profession, they are not able to maintain the cleanliness. But there are good people there. So how can we reconcile those things?
Yeah, good people is what we label. We can't label. Once you start reading scriptures, we don't go by those labels because society may have the idea that somebody is a good person. Some people think that that Hitler was a good person. His mom thought he was a nice boy. Yeah, what I mean is those are of course loose terms. But you see, that's why the Harijan system, the whole confusion came. You see, in India, why people are not allowed in the temples is mainly for cleanliness reason. But it turned out to be Shudras are not allowed in the temple. It turned out like that. That's not the original meaning, isn't it? It has to be cleanliness. Now, for example, if I am cleaning the toilet, that doesn't disqualify me from going to the temple, provided I change my dress and take a shower and change my dress. Then allowed to go. But in that condition, after having cleaned the toilet, I can't enter the temple. That wouldn't be inappropriate. So that's where the understanding has to be there, the proper understanding. But unfortunately, over the years, it has changed into, oh, which family you're born in, then you can't enter. Oh, you're a foreigner, you can't enter. It turned out to be the wrong thing. That is not the original intention. Foreigner means it's expected that he is eating meat and he is a cow killer and eating beef, so he can't enter the temple. That's fair enough. But if he becomes a Vaishnava, then he should not be forbidden. If he has changed all that, he has given up. Shastra says once he apiche sudurachara, bhajate mananya bhak, he is completely purified now. Bhajate mananya bhak, he is engaged in my devotional service. Sadhu deva samantra, he should be called a sadhu. In the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, Krishna gives the definition of sadhu. Bhajate mam ananya bhak, he is engaged in my devotional service. Okay, good point. You answer your question?
Yeah, it answered the second part of it. The first part, I think.
What's the first part you said?
I mean, those days,
Repeat.
the saints, they continuously went on.
Oh, saints they went. Achha, saints, sorry, I missed that. I didn't know that. I thought you were commenting. Rishis and all. Yeah. They're called Avadut. Avadut category. Avadut category we can't put in our category. They're called Avadut. Okay. In the Bhagavatam also there's a story of Avadutas. They do things according to on a different platform.
Yeah.
And we cannot compare ourselves to them, nor can we bring them down to our level, isn't it? But of course, sometimes people claim to be Avaduta, but they're not. That's another category. So, but the genuine Avadutas, they sometimes, Rishabdev was Avaduta. Yeah. He would lie down his own stool, but the only difference is his stool was very fragrant, unlike ours. So, if you are in that category, then you can do that. But otherwise, we should not be imitating those. So cleanliness is the criteria which determine who should be allowed to come to the temple, who should not be. Unplugged. Thank you. Okay. What are the other qualities mentioned here, demonic qualities in this verse? There are quite a few. Improper behavior, correct. So improper behavior. So what is improper behavior? What does Prabhupada talk about that? Correct. So again here, following the scriptures like Manu Samhita, that's a default position of a devotee. That's a default position. But sometimes those rules may apparently be compromised. When does that happen? Sometimes those rules may apparently be compromised. Sometimes it appears that they have been compromised. Very good. That's right. Like Prabhupada said, people give up he was accused of crossing the ocean. Right? Last, you're going across the ocean. You lost your sannyas, your jat. You're out of varnashrama now. You're not even Shudra, like less than. You violated a basic principle. The sadhu, I become lecturer now. But then Prabhupada said that I gave up my sannyas, I gave up the material world to take sannyas. Now I've given up my sannyas to preach. In other words, preaching is a higher principle. Manu Samhita also says, if you are, for preaching purposes, one can ignore or not consider the lower principles. The higher principles are always prevailing. So how to know which is pervading, which is prevailing? That we need sadhu. Because Shastra gives different recommendations. Like Prabhupada says, if you touch stool it's dirty, if you touch cow dung it's not dirty. Both are stool. But Shastra says that is pure, it's impure. So this is a explanation of the Acharyas. The Acharyas, they explain to us what we should take in what context. Otherwise, out of context, things look wrong. That's why as devotees, it's very important for us not to say, caught you doing something wrong. We have to be careful. Maybe the person has got a reason. First try to understand. Whether before we comment and say, oh, you're wrong, we should be more thoughtful and think, maybe there's a reason why the person is doing it. And even if you think you're really sure it's wrong, you can go and ask, Prabhu, I see you doing this. I don't think that's appropriate. But I could be wrong, but please correct me. Then the devotee will say, oh yeah, I made a mistake. Then you get corrected straight away. But we should not jump to conclusion, you're wrong. Yes, Mataji, you had a comment?
Yes, even Ramanujacharya is also very Yes.
When he was given the mantra and not to be
Yes.
told to anyone,
Yes.
he just did to everyone,
Yeah. Very
He was
good.
not following even the master, spiritual
Yes.
master.
Yeah, very good point. Prabhupada explains that to George Harrison. George Harrison, he was talking to George Harrison, Prabhupada, and George Harrison said, "Oh, Swamiji, we got our mantra, but it's secret mantra. We can't tell you." And Prabhupada said, "Why it's secret?" "Oh, it can give you all its benefits. If it's got all the benefits, then why don't you give it out then? If it's really good for everyone." Then he tells the story which you are referring to. Ramanujacharya apparently disobeyed his guru, but he was doing it out of compassion. So as devotees, we should seek first to understand before we want to be understood. This is one of the Stephen Covey's principles. And we must try to understand what the other person is trying to do or trying to say. Let's try to understand that first, and since really something is wrong, then we can offer some suggestion. So got to be very careful, because otherwise, you see, you might end up creating a misunderstanding, isn't it? Yes, Prabhu.
So I've got a question. The discussion earlier that we were having about Jarasandha.
Yeah.
Now, Jarasandha was a Vishnu Bhakta. So, in spite of it, he couldn't get Krishna consciousness. So, is it possible that in our day-to-day life, we may be thinking that, oh, we are serving Lord Krishna, we are doing devotional service. At the same time, we may be totally envious and
yeah, very true.
And again, that example of Bhaktilata beach where the
offenses,
the expert gardener can differentiate
correct
whether the
weeds yep
are actually weeds
true.
or
They
we may be thinking that
they look like Bhaktilata beach, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why you are very careful that we don't pull out the Bhaktilata beach by mistake and keep the weeds. That we discussed, right? We discussed before.
Yes. So the question is, it's actually a difficult situation here, isn't it?
Very difficult.
Like when we really think whether we are progressing, because and plus, it's also not possible because in a sort of a Gurukul or in an ashram situation where you're surrounded by devotees, this is much easier because you can understand, because there may be devotees who may be trying to correct you or trying to tell you which is the correct path. But then most of us, I think majority of us here, are not in an ashram like situation.
Correct.
We devote the majority of our time in the material world. So how does one understand? Because the association with devotees is very limited, because also we have to live in the material world. So you understand my question, Prabhu?
Yeah. So you are saying, let me rephrase it to see if I understood it correctly. That we are saying we are living in the material world, we are not living in ashram. So there is the association with non-devotees so much, the contamination from that. You're concerned about that, right?
No, not about the contamination. How do we know whether we are actually doing devotional service or whether it's just a show?
Yeah. To that we have to be honest to ourselves. Ultimately no one can tell you from outside, isn't it? So outside we can say symptoms. Symptoms are, we develop the divine qualities we read in the first 3 verses. And the remaining verses we are reading is pretty much demoniac qualities. If those qualities are getting prominent, then we should be more careful. That means it will reflect on our chanting. The foundation is good chanting. So the better we improve our chanting, the more we can develop saintly qualities. The more we take shelter of the holy name, the better it is. That is our kavacha, our protection. That's why as many rounds as possible chant in the morning and go, it's better. Though for Grihasthas, Prabhupada did say in one letter that you do 4 rounds in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, 4 evening and 4 at night. He said if you are working out family responsibilities. So that's also okay. He did say that. But that leaves you less protection if you do less in the morning. If you do more in the morning, or all of the rounds ideally, then you got more protection. But then the greatest protection is to go out and preach. which means book distribution, Harinam, festivals, prasad distribution, preaching programs. Do that, that's the best, because that gives extra mercy of Krishna. Anything we can do to get mercy, we should get. See, we are not going to go back to Godhead on our abilities. That's not going to happen. Nor on our qualities, isn't it? That's not going to happen. So what we can do is whatever attracts mercy, that's what we want. Whatever gets you the most mercy, that's because we are all mercy, most of us at least, are mercy cases. Whatever gets us the Lord's mercy, that is attractive for us, and that is important for us. Otherwise there are kaler dosha nidhe rajan. What's the big deal? If I can find fault in you, it's not a sign of my intelligence. There is an ocean of faults. It's like saying, trying to find water in the ocean. Come on, give us a break, The ocean is full of water. What's the big deal? Oh, I can see water. Oh, thank you very much. So, kaler dosha nidhe rajan. Ocean of faults. You're seeing some fault. Oh, big deal. See good qualities. That is important. See faults in ourselves, good qualities in others. We can cultivate that. It's not easy. It's a mindset. That's why we train ourselves. That's why we read Bhagavad Gita, read Prabhupada's books, we chant the holy name, take prasad, association. All these things is not just knowledge transfer here. We are also having a transformation is going on inside us. Isn't it? We are undergoing a transformation. So the more we can facilitate that, the more we can be eligible for mercy. What we really want is a mercy. Because anything else will not do. You get money, that can guarantee you Krishna consciousness. You get a house, you get a car, you get a job. None of these things will guarantee Krishna consciousness. Even initiation doesn't guarantee. Though it adds your chance, the only thing it adds your chance of getting mercy. Without that, it's very hard to get mercy. With initiation, it's much better, chances are improved. So the question is, what we can do to attract the mercy, that's all. Simplified. Yes, Prabhu. Did I finish your question?
Yeah. Following that point.
Yeah, Prabhu, please.
You asked the significance of having a temple, that why we should go to the temple every week.
Yeah.
That we go to the temple to learn new things and then practice it throughout the week.
Very good.
You also get the remembrance of what we are forgetting.
Yes.
Get the remembrance, learn new things, and then practice it throughout the week so
very
that we are not diverging from the path.
Yes, very good. Very nice point. And that's why when you go to the temple, we should have that mood of learning and not of socializing. Yeah. To some extent, the socializing is good for preaching purposes, because when you want to preach to somebody, you can't just go and say, Hare Krishna, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, start giving a class. I'm exaggerating. But some socializing is required. How's your family? How's your job going? Are you alright? The kids doing okay? You were sick last week. Are you alright? Whatever social, those are necessary interactions. But the goal of behind that, all that should be to bring them to Krishna, isn't it? To help them to get some Krishna consciousness. That motivation should be there. Otherwise, we could miss the point. We could just come there to make a show of religion, show that I'm a religious man. I'm coming for that purpose. People see, oh, I'm so dharmic. Politicians come to temples sometimes like that. They will come because they want to get votes. They aren't really interested in Krishna. They come to our gatherings to get some votes. It's purely business. Santil is laughing a lot. I don't know why. He has some friends in that connection. Yeah, that's right. They like to see public exposure. Yes, you want to say something? Oh, it's getting a bit warm? Okay. Thank you. So, which category was that? This was improper behavior, right? We're in that? Yeah. Improper behavior. So, any behavior that is not according to, that is not favorable to Krishna consciousness, favorable to Krishna, that is improper, isn't it? Anukulena Krishna Anushilnam. Anukula, it has to be Anukula. What is the opposite of Anukula? Pratikula. So, Anukula is Sankalpa, Pratikula is Varjanam. 6 items surrender. We talked about. Whatever is favorable we should accept, and unfavorable we should reject. And favorable, unfavorable by our calculation doesn't count. Like recently we had a Bhakti Vriksha program, new batch started. First day I get the question, how come Draupadi had 5 husbands? That is not fair. I said, come on, that's not the most important topic to discuss. Let's first of all, I'm trying to say, look, Prabhu, we're not the body. Okay, let's get that right. And in the first class, he wants to know why Draupadi had 5. It's not fair. I said, not fair to you, but she was happy. Krishna was happy. What is your problem? She's not your wife, so why are you bothered? People don't get it. They say, no, I want to know that first. Why you have to know about that? That's not important. And so people are so, they don't understand what is proper. Okay, so improper behavior, we can go on about that, there's too much to say, but let's go to the next point. What's the next point mentioned in the verse? Proper social behavior, yes, what is that?
Women should not be given but that does not mean they should be treated as slaves. Should be treated as children.
Correct. For protection rather than for exploitation. Okay. Alright. What is the other point there? Truthfulness, yes. So what is the definition of truth? Yeah. Yes, giving the message as it is. Okay. Now Shastra even says that when life is in danger, one may not speak the mundane truth. Like the story that's mentioned, right? I don't remember all the details, but there was a Brahmana. Which one?
The cow thing, some.
Use the microphone. Yeah.
I don't know whether this is the same example that you're mentioning, but there's a cow which is being chased by a bunch of butchers, and the owner of the cow is also running behind the cow, and the cow goes and hides in the house of a Brahmana. So, and the butcher also hides, and these butchers, the owner of the cow also goes and hides with the cow. So these butchers are coming, and then they ask the Brahmana, did you see a cow, because we're wanting to catch that cow and slaughter. Instead of the Brahmana saying, oh yes, the cow is inside, please come in and take the cow. So he's saying, no, I didn't see any cow, because he wanted to save the life of the cow.
Correct. Very true. Yeah, very good. That's an example where he was apparently untruthful, but for a higher purpose. Yeah, but we should be careful as devotees not to use that, misuse that.
Just to addition to that, he has just taken a vow that he will
Not speak the
only
truth.
truth,
Yeah.
only truth. So, and then only just happens.
Correct, that's right, that's what I remember. Yeah, that's good. No, thank you. I was thinking of the same story, but I was not, I was vague. The details are vague in my mind. Now you reminded me. Ashwatthama, yeah, that's right.
In Krishna, he broke his vow and
Yeah, correct, yeah, that's right. Very true. So we have our own mundane sense of right and wrong, and we try to judge everything by that, and we get into trouble, isn't it? People also talk about Ekalavya and how he was asked to give up his finger. That is unfair. There are a lot of people who are lawyers for Karna as well. Defense lawyers, they defend Karna. Oh, he's the real hero of Mahabharata, not Krishna. He is the one great one. So many but our acharyas don't agree with that, so therefore we cannot accept this. Yes, Madhuri?
Prabhupada is a very good example, Prabhu, because he traveled in Western country and never accepted Jesus or any other spiritual leaders as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was so strong and told the truth to everyone, though only Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He didn't change his words saying
as
that.
It is. He gave the message as it is. Uncompromising.
Uncompromising.
That's the right one. Yeah, you're very true. That's the Prabhupada wanted us also to be bold and uncompromising. That's a speech later, next chapter is going to come. Speech has 3 qualities, right? What are the 3 qualities? Very good. Of the 3, Satyam, Hitam, Priyam. Of the 3, which can be compromised? Yeah, Priyam sometimes can be compromised. You may say something that's harsh, but is beneficial and is truthful. Satyam and Priyam. So untruthfulness is not to concoct. Yes, Nandini?
Just an example of happened in the last Bhakti Yoga. Last year, when you had a group of students, you were quite apprehensive as to how to speak about Krishna because you didn't know how they would take it. And then you spoke to Ghanashyam Prabhu and said, should we not talk about Krishna? Should we just give the message in a roundabout way?
And Ghaneshan Prabhu said, no, we have to talk about Krishna and we have to do kirtan about Krishna. They will accept it, and they did. He was so surprised.
Yeah.
Mridang was so surprised. They just took it like fish to water.
That's right. You follow good advice, that's what happens. You get good results. Yeah. That's why we need an experienced devotee to guide us as to what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is good, what is not good. Because we ourselves can't make the judgment, right? It's be hard to make the judgment. And from experience we learn. No? But Prabhupada's principle is always simple, that you are uncompromising. But at the same time, if you're going to some countries where things may be difficult, politically difficult, sometimes devotees travel in suit and clothes, Western clothes. They don't use devotional clothes because that is not favorable. So those adjustments have to be made. Yeah.
Prabhu, I have the question regarding the Eklavya. He was actually ended up with the Duryodhana side in the battle, but I didn't understand why he was against the Arjuna, and basically his son was asked by Dronacharya, who was in the same party. So I thought that he was like, if he wanted to be on the, like he was not his. That was another example with his knowledge was actually got contaminated, because I think Dronacharya was unfair to him, not Arjuna. So he could have been, if he would have like.
It was not the problem. He didn't have problem with Arjuna. That was not the real problem. So they want to explain? Oh, okay. I thought you were nodding. I thought you had an answer. Mridang has an answer. I knew somebody has an answer. This has been discussed before.
Hare Krishna, I was just reading an article, I think Thursday night, on the spiritual scientist about Ekalavya, that firstly the only reason why, so it'll take me about 2 minutes to explain, is that okay? Firstly, the only reason that Dronacharya didn't accept Ekalavya as a disciple was because Ekalavya was part of the clan who was actually causing trouble to the people of Hastinapur, right? They were against the law, and so if Dronacharya as a guru accepted him, then he'd be training him to fight, better against and cause more havoc to the people. And then once Dronacharya didn't accept him, I think it's an offense to not follow the order of the spiritual master, but it's also an offense to selectively follow the orders of the spiritual master. So Dronacharya said, I do not accept you, and still he made the effigy of Dronacharya, and then he practiced basically listening to what he was telling the Pandavas and then practicing. And then when he came back to Dronacharya and he said, look, I've learnt it, and the way Dronacharya found him was because he sewed the dog's face up with arrows, and that's not the way to do it, And Dronacharya still knew that, look at his character. A Kshatriya is someone who protects the people, but although he can fight, his character is not that of a Kshatriya. So that's why he also asked him to cut his finger off. And Dronacharya was actually not teaching just the Pandavas, he's teaching everyone, right? Kauravas and the Pandavas. And so when the time of the battle came, I think Eklavya was on Duryodhana's side based on, I think, one, the regional, and secondly, because he was not a saint. He was not a saintly person. He was a demoniac person. And so that's why Krishna had to kill him before the battle started. Is that
correct? Very good.
But as you said, he was actually causing troubles to Hastinapur, which was part of Duryodhana anyway. So they were enemies together. So I thought that he was in the Duryodhana just because he wanted to take revenge against Arjuna.
Yeah.
During the time of the... Sorry.
Yeah, you got the answer. You're the right answer. You're getting the right answer. Go.
At the time of the battle, Duryodhana would take anyone that would fight on his side. It doesn't matter who.
Yeah. And there is before they divided, it was all one. Later on, they could divide Kauravas and Pandavas. Initially, it was all one kingdom.
Because Duryodhana was the ruling king that time.
Correct.
That's why maximum people have party.
Allegiance to him, and that's why he fed them. He had a camp. He would feed people before the war. Exactly. He didn't reveal that it is the Kaurava, his Duryodhana camp. They were just invited. Sadhu, come here. This Sadhu Sangha is going on. Take prasad. And people thought, oh, prasad, they're going to eat. I said, oh, by the way, he just ate Duryodhana's lunch. Correct. Yeah. He tried to do that. He tried to. Yeah. He tried with Krishna. I was going to come to that, but anyway, go on. That's of interest to us. Yeah, and Krishna just refused. That's where the famous bhajan became bhajan. Duryodhan ghar meva tyago sak vidur ghar khayo. Yeah, that's the reason. That's why patram pusham phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Bhakti uparitam. That's important. Offered with love and devotion. Okay, good. So we covered the demoniac qualities in this verse. Huh? He can't buy Krishna, correct. But he can be purchased by love. Ajita is unconquerable, but is conquered by the love of his devotee. Okay. Where are the 16 chapters, boys? Oh. Alright.
Prabhu, in this verse, one more demoniac qualities is given. It is said that
Microphone.
giving much freedom to women is also a demoniac quality.
Yeah. Oh yes, last time we had a stalemate. We had a stalemate on that. Yeah. Yeah.
We already discussed so much, but Prabhu said we'll have one more session.
If we do that, if we do that, huh?
We also discussed children. Children and women need to be protected. And even though we may think that they should not be given freedom. Suppose point was they should not be given freedom because they are not in a position to protect themselves.
Correct. Yeah. So, what is the question?
She said, what is the question? Maybe can we just discuss that? How
If we do that, that will be the rest of today's class. And text 8, might as well deal with today. The next time we'll start text 8.
Prabhu, you're skipping that.
No, we'll go to that, no? I'm saying we're not skipping. We'll go, next time we'll do text 8. If I do 8 now, we can't discuss that. Let us finish it today. Or try to finish it today. It's never going to end. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That's the bodily concept of life. Okay. So, comment, question. Start. You think where to begin from? No, but she was first, you're second. No, we'll have for and against.
I read today Mataji said that Srila Prabhupada. She was initiated. I'll tell you her name afterwards.
Okay,
she said that.
Okay, never mind.
She said that Srila Prabhupada's movement is for disciples, people who want to be, people who want to know about the absolute truth and come out of this cycle of birth and death and bodily conception. If you're going to be stuck in this bodily conception, then there are many people who just read Prabhupada's purports and never come to ISKCON.
Correct.
So this really shouldn't be an issue.
No, that's true. No, you are right. That's a very big point. Because people are saying Prabhupada is not practical anymore. Because he was for the 20th century, now we are in the 21st century, and is not relevant today. That's why when I was hearing one lecture, I think it was Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, some Maharaj, he said, if Prabhupada were to come back today, if Prabhupada were to come back to ISKCON today, would you follow him? If he gave some instruction, would you follow him? Then he asked another question. He said, if Jesus were to come back today, which church would he join? There are so many factions, right? In the name of Jesus, so many churches, so many factions. Which one would he join? So, because that's what happens, you see, when the original teachings are explained and we take things out of context, we try to think we are too smart, we figure out some other meaning out of it. Never, why would any scripture, especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, support any kind of exploitation? Just think about it. If it was based on giving reason to, someone is misusing the scripture and exploiting women, or vice versa, don't be surprised. That doesn't mean scripture is not relevant. And as Prabhu said, the key point here is we're not the body. If we don't focus on that, we can easily get carried by the statement. Oh, Prabhupada made statement against women, and he said so many bad things about women. And some email was floating around recently, not recently, I think last year or something. Some crazy guy went around, sent a whole chain email about Prabhupada not respecting women and making remarks about women, which they are really concerned about. But if you're really concerned about somebody, make them Krishna conscious. Help them become Krishna conscious. If you're concerned with women, help them be Krishna conscious. This equal rights that Prabhupada condemned so much is the women's liberation was started by men to exploit women. So who is the beneficiary of that? Who is the beneficiary? No, neither. Because the one who do this is a demoniac, and women who think that they are free are also behaving in a demoniac way, and they're getting exploited. Instead of getting protected, they're getting exploited. So who has gained? Nobody has gained. If I'm exploiting someone, then I am the demon. But I'm saying I'm come to help you. So this exploitation mode has always been there. Like I said before, the British thought they came to India to do good to India. They conquered India for India's own benefit, to pull them out of the Stone Age and make them advanced and civilized. That was their plan. So the Muslims also thought like that. They thought we're going to give culture to these people, going to teach them some higher principles of Islam. That is our purpose of conquering them. So this spirit, they think they're doing for a good purpose. If it does not suit anybody who does those activities, exploitation, against the scriptures, that is demoniac. Full stop, it doesn't matter. And of the feminine mentality is what not only women, I would say go one step further and say feminine mentality, even in men, means that we need a mentor or a guide or a teacher or a guru. After all, what does it mean women should not be given freedom? Similar to you could say the same sentence, disciples should not be given freedom. You could read it that way. Why? That means disciples should be under the protection, guidance and instruction of guru. In other words, some authority. So we all have authority. Right? For the wife, the husband is the authority. Yes, that is the system. You can't have both equal rights. It's chaos. You can only have one person in charge. Who takes responsibility? Then the husband himself is answerable to, wife is answerable to husband is answerable to guru. And guru is answerable to his guru, and he is answerable to Krishna. So that everyone has an authority. So when it says women should not be given freedom, it means same way the disciples should not be given freedom. Why? So guru can exploit them? No, for their protection again. Now it makes sense, isn't it? If I say disciples should not act whimsically, should follow the order of guru, everyone agrees, yeah, that is true. But you say women should not be given freedom, it's not different. You see the point? Everyone must have somebody that is protecting us, not exploiting. But unfortunately, because this should not be given freedom has been misunderstood and opened up the room for exploitation and abuse. That's why it's got such a bad name. So it's a political thing. It's a conditioning of the times we're living in. So women are, for example, sati. Now sati was optional. It was never forced. But people started forcing the woman to burn herself up because her husband died. Or she was ill-treated. You are a bad woman by the in-laws, saying that our son died because of you. And they abused, ill-treated, tortured, even killed the women. Or force them to undergo sati. That's when the government decided we have to ban it. But original system was the wife couldn't tolerate living without a husband. She was so chaste that she said, my husband is not there, I have no purpose to live. That shows the chastity. And for doing that she would go to the heavenly planets at least. And the husband is a devotee, goes back to God, she goes back to Godhead. She has the option to go back to Godhead. Because God will die anyway one day. Might as well die like this. No, suicide is condemned, but at that point in time she voluntarily chose to live with her husband because her husband is a better half. The Shastra allows that. Doesn't mean one should be forced to do that. It does not mean one should be forced. Huh? Not a compromise. It is an option. Willingly done, optionally done. And especially if they have small children, for example, then that's not recommended. Kunti didn't do sati. Right? Mahabharata, see, Madri accepted sati for two reasons. What are the reasons she gave? Very profound actually. This is very profound. She was responsible for her husband's death, number one. What is the other reason? very profound reason. She said, if I live, I don't think I'll treat, she told Kunti, I don't think I'll treat my children, your children equally. I'll be biased, I'll be partial. You are very impartial. You look after my children better than your own children. So better I die. What a noble thought, huh? Amazing, isn't it? If you read Mahabharata very carefully, you see so much message is there in each one of, every action is so well thought out. Children are young, so both can't commit. Initially both wanted to commit sati, Kunti and Madri. Both said we want to die. And both were arguing, no, it should be me, no, it should be me. And final arguments were these two. And Madri did go for sati. But then she goes back to Godhead. She's the wife of Pandu, not an ordinary person. So for a devotee, that's another side point, but it's worth mentioning, very important. If death is, for all of us death is approaching, but if you especially become aware that some sickness and death is approaching. I was speaking to one devotee recently, he's very old. He said, oh Prabhu, how are you? He said, oh, I'm coming closer to Krishna. He said, I'm growing old, I don't know how long I'll live. I'm getting closer to Krishna. So in sati it is allowed simply because it's the dharma. She has that right, the wife has that right. She can exercise that right at that point in time. If the children are taken care of and there's no further responsibilities. But it is completely optional. So it's not a question of exploiting women.
The 2 points as you mentioned, like exploitation in terms of nowadays also we see they said there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and they want to free Iraq from the hands of the person, and they went there. They are trying to establish this situation by giving them a democracy, but
Correct.
they have actually made the situation worse than what it was before.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
they wanted to exploit the everyone knows that the oil and all the other resources there, and
Correct.
that's one. And as you mentioned that Krishna is the only Purusha.
Correct.
So he's the only enjoyer, and everybody else is basically forming the go into the category of like a prakriti, which is so they are getting enjoyed. So basically, none of us has got freedom in one sense.
Correct. Very good. Very nice points. Thank you. Jalan Prabhu?
On this point of the new women's freedom that we are discussing, if we really go back to even 20 or 30 years back, the sort of Vedic principles used to be followed, where at least in India, where women, they never used to go out of work. It was not very prominent.
Yes.
So it was only the male members, and just in a span of 20-30 years, when we see that women have started working, they've got lots of freedom.
Yes.
I was hearing that in Mumbai, the court cases, the highest number of court cases and the pending court cases are for divorce.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it's just 30 years back, divorce was a taboo.
Correct.
So now, due to the fact that they're not following the Vedic principles, things have changed.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Because we have lost faith in the scriptures. We are not interested in the scriptures, and we have been persuaded by the materialism from the West. So naturally, one has lost faith in the scriptures, and that's why people are adopting all these concoctions. Very true. Cow slaughter was, even the Indian constitution originally had a ban on cow slaughter, killing cow, but they took that out. In the constitution it was there, you should not kill the cow. But because of votes, winning the elections, they took it out. It was there in original. I saw a document that showed that cow slaughter is not banned in the country. Can't kill the cow. But somehow they have changed it. True.
And sorry. So on this point, I was also hearing sort of an argument from someone saying that the biggest greenhouse emission, the reason for the biggest greenhouse emission is because of animals grazing, cow grazing the grass. Like people, they can be so silly and they can go to any extent
Yeah.
to justify, cow
Cow
slaughter and
slaughter,
eating
yeah.
of cows.
Yeah,
They're
no,
saying that it's not the emissions caused by the factories or
Ah.
because greenery is being depleted.
That can be deleted. That can be debated. That can be debated. That's not such a foolproof thing. Rather, the amount of water that is spent in the abattoirs, the slaughterhouses, is far more than for any other purpose. So that is causing a lot of climatic problems. And furthermore, for every kilo of meat they are going to produce, they maintain the cows for slaughter. That's when they consume so much greenery. If the cows are allowed to graze on their own and they are not given food that has been cultivated by man, naturally if they go and graze in the wilderness, they'll pick what they want. In fact, they even pick herbs to treat themselves. And they don't have MBBS degree. Without a doctor's degree, they are able to decide which herb they need for curing their own illness. So they are more smarter than doctors because they know what to eat. So because we are not giving them wild grazing, see, people are concerned, we have to cultivate so much land. If you don't kill the cows, they keep on eating grass, it will actually go down, and therefore we'll have shortage of grass. But that's because you're cultivating the grass. You don't need to cultivate the grass. Cows are kept in a farmland where there is grass naturally growing. They'll just eat that. That would have just remained there anyway. And they eat that. Actually, there's so many factors. Somebody is telling me recently that the cow is the only animal that breathes in oxygen and breathes out oxygen. You are telling me? You said you sent the mail, correct? I mean, I forget so many things I hear, read. Yeah, there's a whole article. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you sent one sent. Correct. I was thinking the oxygen. They breathe in oxygen, breathe out oxygen. Okay. Now, where is the argument now? Finished. Right? Yeah. And trees are the best air conditioners. Best air conditioners. They breathe in carbon dioxide, give out oxygen. Even better. They even mop up the carbon dioxide. They clean up. So we are tampering with nature and trying to think we are too smart. We are ending up in more trouble. Acid rain and pollution. So much. That's why chanting Hare Krishna is a transcendental vacuum cleaner. Sorry, Sumedha was before, and then you. Okay? Yeah.
Oh, you gave the example of British, right? They wanted to pull India out of Stone Age, but you said because it's against scripture, it's still considered demonic, right?
Yeah.
But then, because the scriptures are so vast, sometimes somebody can point out to some part of a scripture which justifies their action. For example, Shukracharya tells Bali Maharaj that to earn a living, falsity is okay.
Correct.
In marriage, falsity is okay.
Correct.
So how do we, because scriptures are so vast, even a demonic action can be justified through scripture.
Yeah, but you see, we have to understand the spirit of the law. That's why the application has to be understood according to the context. That's why we need Acharya to decide what is right, what is wrong. For example, when the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya was lost, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur employed British, what do they call them? Some British authorities to come and establish a real birthplace based on the old documents, scriptures. And that officer insisted, if you want me to do this job to establish the real birthplace of Lord Chaitanya based on the old scriptural documentation, I have to come and live here for a certain period of time, like 1 week or 2 weeks. And during that time I should be fed meat, alcohol, everything. Otherwise I'm not coming. No meat, no alcohol, I'm not coming. So Bhaktisiddhanta said, okay, go for it, take it. He actually served that British officer meat and alcohol. He could come and do all the calculation and establish, because that is the British Raj. So the government officially recognized the current birthplace as the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, not the one they had before, which they were using that place to make money. Come to I have the Janmasthan, come here. Birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. But by the way, put 1 rupee here, those days, donation. So it was a fundraising program. But it was a personal fundraising, not for building a temple or something. It was for the Brahmanas self-fundraising, self-fundraising, self-raising. Self-raising floor. But then he fed meat and alcohol to the British officer, because that way he would sit there peacefully and do his work. Now you may say that's against the law, feeding meat, oh my God. So before we jump to conclusion and judge, we should understand properly. That's why it's important to study Prabhupada's books very carefully. and discuss topics like what you're doing, to discuss these topics. Otherwise, we can take things out of context. And ultimately, Krishna knows our intention, right? Krishna knows our intention. What appears to be wrong to some people because their value system, their judgmental attitude, doesn't mean it's wrong. And just because someone has a reason to justify what they're doing doesn't mean it's right. It's not our justification that counts in the end. It's Krishna's justification. How does Krishna see it? Like Ajamal acted sinfully. At the end of his life, he called his son Narayan. And Lord Narayan thought, he is calling me. Now we can't tell my Lord, he was calling his son really. Don't you know the difference? I don't think any scripture has got that dialogue. And Narayan said, oh, I didn't know that actually. Thanks for updating me. I made a mistake on that one. Doesn't work like that. Like Radhanath Maharaj says, if somebody asks a question, if I chant Hare Krishna and shoot myself in the head and say last Krishna Nam I've said, will I go back to Krishna? What did he say? He said, in that name Krishna won't be there. You may chant his name, but you can't fool Krishna like that. You may say Hare Krishna and shoot last thought is Krishna, Ante Narayana Smriti. You can't. Yeah, exactly. He's the biggest cheat. If you want to cheat him, he'll cheat you royally. He knows how to cheat. He can't get away with it, right? Krishna is the smartest of the smartest of the, what do you say, of the gamblers, of the cheats? Gambler, right? Yeah, something like that. Earlier verses there. So Krishna can cheat like anything. We can't do that. We can't compete with Krishna. Not worth trying. We're going to lose badly.
One more question, Prabhu.
Huh? Yeah, the whole thing is Chaurashtakam. Thank you. Yeah, Chaurashtakam. Very good point. Yeah. Chaurashtakam. He's a thief in so many ways. He steals a heart, he steals butter, he steals, runs Ranachor, Makanchor, Chitchor. Not the movie. In case you start thinking. Yes, Prabhu.
One more quick question. So we know about these 4 authentic sampradayas. Right?
Yeah.
Now in India, particularly South India, there are many which are apart from these,
Yeah.
but still their intent is good. They talk about Krishna Bhakti and going back to Godhead. So how do we classify these divine or demoniac?
The thing is, for us more important is to whether we should follow them or not. That's the question, isn't it? Really. Because our job is not to certify or uncertify this. That's not our this is our profession. If that was my job to certify, then I have to go and to think, okay, where do they fit in? But the point is whether you have to follow them or not. That's the question you're really asking, isn't it? That's relevant to us. Because we're not sitting and labeling people or judging people, right? Certified, not certified. We're not.
Because sometimes even among devotees, like there is a inclination to maybe hear them sometimes, or like.
Yeah, hearing from them, that's what I'm saying, to follow them in other words. That's my point I'm saying. Hearing from them, following them, or taking instruction from them. Ultimately, one can take gold from even from filthy place. But one has to be expert in doing that. You can take gold even from filthy place. I'm not saying that they are filthy, but I'm saying even from an unclean place. But one has to know the art of doing that. If you don't know the art, it's better not to do that. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't like. If his followers went and heard lectures from other sampradayas which are not bona fide, he would get very angry. Murari, right? Murari Gupta, there's a pastime there. Right? He banned him from his association because he would go and listen to Mayavadi lectures. This was even more serious. He used to listen to Mayavadi lectures. So he would get very angry. And he banned him from association. And when he bent and begged him, please, 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 please. Said, alright, go and tell him I'll see him after 1 million janmas. And he went and conveyed to him, and he started feeling very happy. He started jumping up and ecstatic, making a big commotion. So what's going on? Why are you celebrating? He said, he won't see you for 1 million births. But he said, after 1 million births I'll see him, right? So he said no, but actually it's a yes in that. So that's when you do fundraising, people say, no, I can't give you money for the next 2 years. Oh, that's good. Thank you. After 2 years you're going to give, right? That's all right. That's a positive answer. Very good answer, thank you. So like that, we should not try to follow them, but at the same time, we should avoid So then Lord Chaitanya told Maharaj, okay, you can come back in association. So like that, we should avoid, unless you have the ability to take the essence of what they're teaching and try to learn from that. Better not to, because we could get confused. Because subtle differences are there in philosophies, even within ISKCON and outside ISKCON, even among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the subtle differences. The mood is different. Like Guru Maharaj giving the example, Jayapatak Maharaj giving the example of how he went. I think I told this before. He went to Gaudiya Math. The Bhagavatam class, there were only few old ladies sitting there. So then he asked the Math leader, where are the devotees? Why aren't you preaching? Why aren't you making devotees? He said, oh, we are not preachers, we are practitioners. Only practice, we don't preach. Prabhupada's mood is not like that. Lord Chaitanya's mood is not like that. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Of course, we should be sadhakas, we should be practitioners, that is true. But we should also be pracharakas. We should also do prachara. Accountability. So there's a difference, right, in the mood. Now they're reading the same Chaitanya Charitamrita, they're reading the same Bhagavatam, they're in the same Sampradaya even, Brahma Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. But the mood is different, their approach is different. So even a slight difference can cause a lot of problems to our spiritual life. So it's better not to go there unless we have some authority. Unless some GBC or someone says, yes, you can go there and learn something, then it's alright. Prabhupada authorized that also. Sometimes he would say, from Ramanuja Sampradaya you can learn deity worship, for example. But we don't need to do that. Deity worship, minister of deity worship in ISKCON, they'll go and talk to Ramanujacharyas, the top level, and they already made a deity worship book, Samskaras book. We meant to follow that. Not that we go there and try to learn and try to add or modify this. That's not our role. The minister of religion in our society, that minister, he or she will do that job. Not for us to go and do. We don't have the depth of knowledge to go there and understand the subtle differences and be able to reconcile. Like Bhumi Puja, we had the Ramanuja Sampradaya priest, but they always made sure that Prabhupada was in the center. So when they chanted Ramanuja prayers, they asked us to chant Prabhupada prayers. Isn't it? So they made sure that integrity was there. So they have loyalty to their Guru, we are loyal to our Guru. And yet we follow the common procedure which are there in the Narada Pancharatra and other scriptures, which we both accept. Same thing with any other instruction, same thing. So better to be careful. I mean, Prabhupada said, I've given everything in my books, so why would you need to go anywhere else, really? If there's something lacking, you go there. Prabhupada said, for details of deity worship, we can go to Ramanuja Sampradaya. That's not for common devotees like us. It's for the devotees that is their service to write a book or a manual. They can go and research and come to some conclusion, which they have done already. Anyhow, our main yagya is Sankirtan yagya. That's why the details are not so much. Even when the Tirupati temple is being established, right? The GR of Tirupati temple, he came to our function, it was a 3-day deity installation function. He said, I'll come for first day. Then he ended up staying for second day and he ended up staying third day. Now their priest did the yagya from Tirumala Devasthan. This priest came and did. At the end, the last day, the GR said, I was planning to stay for only 1 day, but I ended up staying for 3 days because your program was so nice. And he said the highlight of the program was your Sankirtan. This is coming from the head GR of the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. He said. And he also said the Ramanujarya actually asked us to do that. We are not doing it, but you are doing it. Ramanuja actually asked us to do Kirtan, but we are not doing it. You people are actually following Ramanuja. So that's the different flavor, you see. There you understand what the important, because we should not feel that something is lacking here and go there. That's not the idea. But at the same time, you go and listen to other sampradayas, shouldn't get confused and not understand the Siddhanta. Because once we are initiated in ISKCON, we have to loyal to a sampradaya. Not that others are bad, they may be bona fide, but still we can't have two masters, we can't follow two paths. But when we do interact with each other, we interact in a certain protocol, such that they follow Ramanuja, we follow Prabhupada. At the same time, we have common ground, and we work it out. That's only for that period. On day-to-day basis, we don't do that. For that Bhumi Puja, that was necessary. That's how we did it. What do you think, Madhuri? Any comments? Okay. Huh? Ekiha Kurunandana. But that refers slightly different context. Mind being not focused. Here is a question of which philosophy, which doctrine to follow. May not be because of a fickle mind, but because more of having one direction focus. But yeah, in one sense you're right. Okay, yes, last comment. Microphone.
This is related to the women's Prabhu.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Oh yes, please.
Sorry, I don't know. It
No,
can
no,
be.
please, no, please. No, it's okay. I'm
It
just
can
joking.
be a broader.
I'm just joking. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I have a question, because see what happens. You said like a sati. So I won't be able to elaborate properly, but my question is like, if women need not to be given freedom, like you said the last lecture, as Prabhupada has given the instructions to women not to work outside, and because she needs to take care of the house and all. But in some situations, like if she is educated and if she's working also, at certain point, it shouldn't happen to anyone, but I'm just saying, if suppose a husband goes handicapped,
unable to work,
and then if suppose or dies or anything happens, divorce or anything, in that situation, if she's alone handling, so she need the experience of education and work experience also to in this world. I'm just saying, in this present world, because no one will. I have seen in my village, there are women who were not much educated because they wanted to get married, but after husband, like early age, they died. Like even my cousin died. She can't do anything. So it's like she has a baby. Even the girls who are married and then early age, they get divorce or die, or husband die. So they need to be educated at least and little bit experience. So in this world, in this material world, we have to face that. They have to. So what in that situation? This doesn't this is not applicable. Like whatever Prabhupada is saying, because we have to take women has to take care of all the aspects of the house. So what is the correct
First of all, let me clarify. Prabhupada didn't instruct women not to work. That's not an instruction. That's the guideline. For ideal situation, when we talk of scriptures, we talk of ideal situations. Okay, ideally, the mother, the wife, the woman, she maintains the household as peaceful, Krishna conscious, nice environment, home for children to grow up. Okay, ideally the husband should go and earn the breadwinner. So this is the ideal situation. But there is always exceptions to that. If somebody in exceptional circumstances has to go out and work due to some unfortunate reason, then that is true. But having said that, in the older generation that also it happened. How did they cope with it? Joint family, exactly. They had a system for that. So it's not that what Prabhupada said is not relevant, it is the ideal. And we try to come to the ideal as far as possible. Because my own father, he lost his father at a very young age. And his mother, my grandmother, paternal grandmother, she brought up two sons, my father and his brother, on her own with the family support. She didn't have a job, she was illiterate, she didn't even go to school. Didn't they survive? Yes, they did. My father got a PhD. My uncle, he was also postgraduate. And she had no, what to speak of job, she was illiterate. She didn't go out and work. But they had a whole family support system, like what you're saying, and they both are educated. Father knows English, he knows French, he knows Sanskrit, he knows Hindi, so he knows Kannada, and so many languages he knows. They learned very well educated. You couldn't tell that they come from a background where the father died at a young age and the mother was illiterate. You could not tell by looking at the father. You can never tell that was the case. So we should have the faith. And of course the support system was there that time. Now we don't have support system, so maybe for practical reasons the woman has to work. Then so be it. And we have to manage that as well. So there are many ways to look at it and see what. So we have to know what to apply in what situation. If we take things out of context, that looks wrong, isn't it? Yeah.
Shouldn't disturb your house, Krishna consciousness.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the ladies, they take up a home-based job like child minding or something. They can be at home, look after their own kids, at the same time earn a small income, or the government will give some support, allowance for the government, single mother. There's so many options are there. So therefore one need guidance of Guru to give you the proper guidance as to what is the best option in this circumstance. And also in householder life it is said that one should have savings for emergency. 25% should be saved for emergency. Yeah, everything is topsy-turvy. So we don't know who is doing what, but that's why if you follow the guidance of Guru, Sadhu Shastra Guru, we're protected. So he didn't make Prabhupada never said that women should never work or something like that. Not recommended. Because what happens in situations he's talking about is where husband and wife both work more for greed than need. Sometimes the need is there, they work, that's alright. But if the need is not there, they want to have a artificially high standard of living, and because that they want to do that, or they want to compete with the neighbors, keep up with the Jones. That is unnecessary, that is over endeavor. But like you are saying, the example where it's a necessity for survival of the children, then one has to do the needful. Prabhupada's answer in these cases was do the needful. He never instructed that they should do this, has to be like this. And that's why those instructions are very specific, not general or global. That person, that lady said you should work, because in your situation that is what is required. But someone else it may not be required. So the idea is that one remains content with what we have, rather than aim for too many things, atyahara, prayasascha. Then what leads to Sadbir Bhakti Vinashati? Our bhakti is destroyed. What's the use then? What have we gained then? Children turn out to be bad, they have bad experience, they turn out to be demoniac. Then what have we gained? I hear so many cases like that. The parents come and tell, oh, can you teach my son something? How old is he? 21-year-old. What am I going to teach him now? I had so many cases like that. Father, mother, both busy with business, making money, running around whole day. Children left to themselves, or child care, after care, before care, unnecessarily. There was no need for that. But they did that to make more money, and then end result they're paying a heavy price now. Was it worth it? Definitely not.
It's not ISKCON related, but there was in Facebook, there was a video of that Sadhguru, you might know. So he just gave a good example of women. He was asked a question like, why you against like women's working, why women have to be taking care of the house. So he just gave a very good example that because you don't know women's are doing the highest paid job, and because she's sacrificing so much, there is actually she's progressing two more people, like she's making them grow as good person, two more, or like if she has 2 kids or 3 kids, her kids has a better future, for better future.
Correct.
So she's sacrificing for better future actually in this world to
Correct.
be a good person. So
Very good.
that's
That's good.
what
She's bringing up 2 or 3 good citizens.
good citizens.
Yes, of this world. Yeah, that's a very, very good. That's why now they don't say housewife, they say homemaker. Politically correct. Isn't it? Yes, right. Euphemism.
Which is what Chairperson Maharaj said
Who's the
when he was asked question.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, he was Hare Krishna. So Maharaj was mentioning in Bengali that you have to invest time in your children.
Yeah.
So unless you invest your time in your children,
Yeah.
most important thing is you have to bring them in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your whole life is a waste.
Correct.
And what is generally happening, because we could see when we were in Middle East, what both parents used to work, and the maids we could have maids, and what the maids used to do was, they'll just switch on the TV.
Yeah.
The whole day the child is watching just the TV, and
Yeah.
she is watching the TV. She's not even interested whether the child is being fed or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when the parents come, they're so tired to even
Find out.
Yeah, find out what's happening. So.
Yeah, so sad actually. Yes, Mataji.
Just talking to my daughter.
It's
So
not wrong.
it's got to a stage where nowadays the girls are worried that unless they can study and earn and fend themselves, that they might be let down.
Yeah.
And then
They have to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the society is so
Very
bad
sad,
now.
yeah.
But it's good to have those skills handy.
Yeah.
But you see that along with that, what we have compromised is the risk of girls getting into trouble. Because what is Sankarshan Prabhu said, right? The universities become like a pick-up place for girls. Girls pick up boys, boys pick up girls. And they are at the prime of the youth when they should be married and settling down and setting up a home. Instead of that, they're being exploited by young men. So it's not ideal environment, the university, you know. But we're living in a compromised world. So if you have a strong foundation of sadhana, strong foundation of Krishna consciousness at home, like you said, coming to the temple, as Shiva Krishna is saying, come to temple regularly, have association, read Prabhupada's books, then they will not get diverted by these things. They'll remain on the path. In spite of going to universities and have bad association and all that, they'll still remain aloof from that. Of course, we have Bhakti Yoga Club there. Krishna said there's Bhakti Yoga Club there. Come on, Radha Gopinath Singh, come on, Bhakti Yoga Club is there. Join the club, even in the university you're protected. So like that, there's always, one has to be careful. So if they want to study, that's fair enough, let them study, but ideally it's not necessary. See that Aruda Mataji, she taught about homeschooling. If you have faith, we can do it, we can pull it off, it's good. Homeschooling, even for boys, not to go to schools, to homeschooling. Now that's not easy, that's not easy.
You know, Nitatrikta Mataji, Netra Mataji was gone, she's gone initially.
Yeah.
So she said like the place where there's no temple in Hyderabad, so there's a place.
There's a temple.
The house itself, they have their
Ah.
own house and
Okay.
they have the temple inside the house, and they have not sent their children to the school. There's like a home school. they're
Yes,
doing.
yes.
And also she wants to do the same thing, like she wants to send the kids to Pune, what is that, IC something? NVCC. So
Yeah.
so there are a lot of options in India, but we don't have here.
Yeah, that's true. We have Gurukuls in Mayapur, Vrindavan, so many are there. Yeah, we're running out of time actually, so maybe Mrigank will be the last comment, sorry. Okay, alright, okay, alright, yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't see.
Just about the kids, Prabhu, just in the retreat, Guru Maharaj gave the example that in the college or a high school, the many boys were taking the girls' photos and they were doing something nonsense with the photos, and police decided that they will arrest the boys. And when they did the research, they found that almost 50% kids of the school are doing this. So they thought that instead of arresting all the kids, let's just have a chat with their parents so we can inform them. And it was 800 kids were there in the school, and they had a seminar for the kids. Only 8 parents came. So they said that parents are not at all worried that what their kids are doing.
What a huge compromise, huh? Hey, that's shocking. You are the last.
I just had a point to make about freedom and women. In ISKCON, I mean, we're looking at this really materially because in ISKCON, no one is being stopped to do any service. We have women doing daily worship, we have men doing daily worship,
Very good.
kirtan,
Very good
flowers,
point.
garlands, cooking, prasadam, kitchen service, everything.
Now ISKCON gurus as well.
Exactly. Narayani Mataji, right? She's
Yeah.
in Sydney. So what's the problem that people are having with this?
No, they're trying to understand. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I know, I was going to say that. So what's the big deal? That's the difference. No, but this is, but they are talking dynamics within the house, for example. Within the house. See, our Krishna consciousness is measured not in the temple but at home. One time one devotee went and told Radhanath Maharaj, I distributed so many books, I did so much preaching programs, I did this, I did that, and his question was, how are you treating your wife? If she gives a good certificate, then you are good. So we're talking about not only in society but at home as well. So there's a few more. But your point is very valid. So when is your Bhagavatam class? When is your Bhagavatam class? Next Friday. Okay, we are coming. I'll join in from New Zealand.
Even when Krishnananda came,
Yeah.
I think you were foolish, right? So some mother asked, that if my child is making noise or he's crying, or what should I be attending the rickshaw? Should I be looking after the kid?
Yeah.
Krishnananda said you should be looking after the kid.
Yeah.
Not the rickshaw. First is love and then the japa.
Yeah. But I have also heard from Sankarshan Maharaj and other devotees that better to let the kids be there and they'll grow up and they'll learn rather than keep them away. Because you leave them away, then when school they sit in the class, why can't they sit here?
Exactly.
Huh? Right. He said in school they go to class, they sit on the class. They're not till you play outside, class will be for the tables and chairs. I don't understand the two double standards. You have to really make it laugh. Or it will be offline. You got to relate.
Just how to
Yeah,
develop
close
that
this.
class thing, within the kids, because they are sometimes like Bharat is very little, but should we just sit in the house and just make a not pretending, but actually reading Bhagavatam and make them sit and listen? So this is one idea.
Yes, that's true. Get them to the practice of being in a classroom environment, which they have to do in school anyway, right? They can't jump around the classroom in the school. They have to sit. All kids are sitting, they'll sit. See, the thing is, if they're trained with the other kids to sit quietly, I've seen some Bhakti Vrishnas ago, some kids are very quiet, they just sit. They don't have any problem. They do. There's some 2 and 3 is a difficult age. With my son, I found that was a difficult. But once he crossed 4, he started more and more cooperating. Started sitting down, and we shouldn't force them. At the same time, we should make it, give them some activity they can do, coloring or something during the class. That's what this Harinamrit and Gopi Prem, they do for their daughter, at least so far. Their strategy is they give her special toys which she only gets in class time. So she associates the Bhagavatam class with that toy. So it's time to play that toy, you have to be in Bhagavatam class and you have to be quiet. That's the reward for getting that special, I don't know, some coloring book or some special pencils she has and some special things which will keep her occupied for that 1 hour. And that way these things are going into her ear, at the same time she's doing what she wants to do. And she's doing something special there. What kids don't like is if you bring them to class and say be quiet. That doesn't work, obviously. Neither can we preach to at their level that they can understand. And if we preach at their level, then others will get bored, obviously. So we can't do that. At the same time, we can't let them create disturbance in the class. So we have to be innovative in all these things. With children, I realized one thing. They challenge our creativity. Bringing up children requires a lot of creativity. You see in the kids, right? Any toy you give them, maximum 5 minutes they'll be interested. After that, they'll throw it away. They're gone. And initially I was buying toys for Giridhar. I said this toy only lasts for 5 minutes. I paid $20 for it. Then I thought better to get from the toy library. You don't have to spend $20. You just get free when you subscribe, but you don't have to pay big money for it. And if it throws it, then you can recycle the toys. After you would have forgotten after 1 week, bring the same toy back. You have to be creative. That's the main thing. And Krishna is creative. Krishna consciousness is a creative process. So you have to be creative with the kids. Slowly bring them in. And maybe you can have them one corner of the hall where they can be playing that side and you can watch them. And the vibration should go in as much as possible. Like you said, but reading at home is a very good. Bedtime reading is, I found, the best habit. It's a very good bonding for parents and kids. And it is a very nice Krishna conscious environment. They sleep, they don't get nightmares and at night, they sleep peacefully. I found that with my own son. I found that it was very useful. And it builds a bond also very nicely, and they feel good. Mom is putting them to bed, reading the story, Krishna book or something at their level, they understand and they hear. And the next day you're surprised, they know. You won't ask them tomorrow, they say, yeah, I read about Bakasura. They'll tell you that. So it's like that. They dream. That's right, exactly, they do. They do. These children are not ordinary children, they're all very special. Okay, really going over time now. Thank you very much. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Gopinath ki jai.